Thank you so much for taking out the time. My first question to you is regarding the Digital India initiative.
Yeah.
The government is extremely ambitious about it, but sir, do you believe that India is ready for Digital India, and of course, what will it really deliver?
So Digital India is a very important initiative in India. Digital life as we know it is tremendously important. Mobile phone companies are building networks. There are fiber routes to homes, etc. E-commerce is spreading. As we go from smartphones to literally hundreds of millions of smartphones, which will happen in the next few years as the price of smartphones come down, as data rates become more available, as there are more real apps for things to do, like commerce or music or Ola Cabs or whatever, people will move towards this digital life. And it's a good thing because in some ways it declogs the streets, it makes shopping a better experience, and it'll change the way people live, play, enjoy themselves, work, all of that. So it's a very important initiative.
But sir, what are the big constraints for Digital India, and do you think spectrum is, or limited availability of spectrum is a huge constraint?
So spectrum is a constraint. India has 900 million cell phone users, and the amount of spectrum that the companies have is very limited. So they're all working hard, struggling hard, putting up more sites to try and meet the demand. And I know there was an auction here recently. That's good. People will put 4G on it. There'll be some new competitors. There needs to be some consolidation. There needs to be a sort of a cleanup of the industry a little bit. But they are at the front line of Digital India.
Right.
And so they have to provide this broadband internet for people to be able to use and enjoy the kinds of things we just talked about.
Right. Just one question on telecom in India. Do you think it's ripe for consolidation?
Well, I would think so, because once you start building 4G networks, it's the thing that will consolidate is because people need spectrum.
Right.
So people will have to either trade or buy or do something or the other so that they get more spectrum, so that they can deploy 4G on it and serve customers like you and me. And we'll increasingly demand better service and increasingly demand more bandwidth and affordability.
Right. So the Indian startup scene is buzzing with action, but if we look at these billion-dollar valuations, do you think they are sustainable, or is that a bubble that could really burst?
Valuation is a very company-specific thing. And so it's very hard to comment in the generic form. But what I would say is that this move towards digital life, this move towards e-commerce, this move towards using your smartphone to do a lot of things is for real. There's no turning back. And this is, again, like I've said, this is a good thing. Now, what companies get valued at, that's sort of a buyer-seller kind of a transaction thing, as opposed to, is this movement real? This is a real movement.
You have joined the board of Ola Cabs. What attracted you to this startup?
The short answer is Bhavish, who is the entrepreneur, founder, chief executive. I think he's a tremendous entrepreneur. And he's got a company that I think solves the real needs of Indian citizens. Wouldn't it be nice if people wanted to go from one place to another, they didn't have to think about, do I have a car, do I have a ride, do I have a... Look, you just press the Ola app button and you'll see all the alternatives in front of you, and you choose the alternative that you want to go in a safe, reliable, consistent, affordable way. That's what he wants to deliver to 1 billion Indian citizens. And I think that's a great vision, and I support him.
So what, according to you, is the mantra for really scaling up a startup?
Look, scaling a startup has a lot to do with sustainable customer experience. And so when customers come and you have a franchise, they trust you, in the case of Ola Cabs, you deliver them from point A to point B, they have to be able to count on your service reliably, predictably, every single time. It can't be, it's a good service one day, it's not a good service the next day, it's a good service the following day. That can't happen. So if you want to scale up, then you have to have consistent experience, and you have to have a business model that's sustainable. You can't do things that in the near term look good, but in the long term are not sustainable.
Sir, my last question to you. You inked the deal with Hutch in 2007, but 8 years down the line, the tax tussle still continues. Does it disappoint you at some level?
Of course it disappoints me at some level. But Vodafone's a big company. We have a very big business here. When we bought Hutch, we had 15 million customers. Today we have 175 million customers. So when I look at it from a customer point of view, I'm very pleased. When I look at it from a policy point of view, I'm a little disappointed. But, you know, that's life in sort of the business lane, as it were.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.